Chosen one, if this video appeared on your screen at this exact moment, stop everything you are doing. Because what I am going to reveal to you in the next few minutes is not a coincidence. It is not an algorithm. It is not a random suggestion. You were drawn here by a force that operates far above what your eyes can see. Today, at some point in your day, perhaps without realizing it, perhaps in the middle of a silent prayer, perhaps in the middle of a tear falling inside your car, perhaps in the middle of an anguish that no longer had words, you pronounced the name that moves mountains, the name that silences demons, the name before which every knee shall bow in heaven, on earth and under the earth. And the instant that name left your mouth, even if it was in a whisper, even if it was in a soundless groan, something gargantuan moved in the spiritual realm. God activated upon your life the immediate law of return, and that changes absolutely everything from here on out. Have you ever felt that something inside you doesn't fit into this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It isn't madness, it isn't anxiety, it isn't an existential crisis, it is a sign. And what is happening right now in the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this sensation has intensified precisely in these last few days. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot perceive, a game that involves your consciousness, your spiritual frequency, and the role you were designated to fulfill in this transition that has already begun. Think carefully. What if everything you have always felt, this sense of being an outsider, this search, this silent certainty that there is something much larger behind events, was exactly the proof that you are not an observer of this story, but a central piece of it? Today, by using the name of the Lord, you involuntarily triggered a divine mechanism that was dormant over your lifeline, a mechanism that returns, with supernatural speed, everything they tried to take from you in recent months, in recent years, perhaps in your entire life. Everything that was stolen, everything that was diverted, everything that was cursed in secret while you slept innocently, now begins to return by the opposite path, and return with spiritual interest that no enemy is prepared to endure. And that is exactly why I prepared this powerful digital book for you, the God-Chosen's Manual for Protecting the Family, because the law of return only functions in its fullness for those who understand the invisible rules that govern this movement. This digital book is not just a read. It is a map that shows who is playing against your household, what the rules are that you were never told about using the name, and what has already been revealed about the exact moment we are living in. This moment when heaven has tilted the scales to the side of the righteous. This digital book was created for those who have already awakened enough to know that spiritual reality is much deeper than what is taught in shallow pulpits, and who are ready to go beyond the lukewarm answers the world offers when you cry out for help. The link is pinned at the top of the comments, but I must warn you with an open heart. This type of content rarely remains available for long, because what is in these pages challenges narratives that many have an interest in keeping intact, and there have already been real attempts to silence this knowledge before it reached hands like yours. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, chosen one, because you did not come across this text by accident. You were led. Download it now and comment below the video. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. Make this public pact with heaven, because every confession of faith in the presence of spiritual witnesses multiplies the strength of the law of return over your life sevenfold. Now that you have decided to act, the next truth I am going to tell you will be the final blow against the oppression that tried to bury you alive all this time. Pay attention, because the immediate law of return does not work the way people imagine. It is not simply a collection, it is a total reorganization of the spiritual board of your life. When you used the name today, even without knowing it, you signed a celestial decree. And in that decree it is written that everything done against you in the dark will now be exposed in the light. Everything spoken at tables of envy, in circles of gossip, in sessions where candles were lit asking for your fall, now returns with triple force to the source. And here is the secret that few know. The immediate law of return is only fully activated when the chosen one pronounces the name with real faith, not with religious faith, not with theatrical faith, not with Sunday morning faith, but with the raw, desperate, and true faith of someone who has nowhere else to run. It was exactly that faith you had today. Perhaps you don't even remember the exact moment. Maybe it was while you were washing dishes and looked out the window with a heavy heart. Maybe it was while you were driving through town and said, "Lord, help me." Maybe it was in the bathroom in the middle of the night, kneeling on the cold floor, crying what no one saw. It was there. It was in that instant. And heaven recorded it. Heaven always records it. There is no wasted prayer, there is no ignored tear, there is no groan lost in the wind. Every sound that leaves the mouth of a chosen one is captured, catalogued, and answered in cosmic time, and today's answer came with a special signature: immediate return. You will begin to see things changing at a speed that will scare you in the next 72 hours. People who disappeared will reappear. Doors that were locked for years will open without you needing to push. Money that was stuck somewhere in the invisible realm will start looking for your name. Unexpected phone calls will arrive. Forgotten names will return to your mind, and each of them will bring a clue, an opportunity, or a reparation. This is the law of return manifesting in the physical plane. But listen well, chosen one. It doesn't just come with blessings. It also comes with exposure. Everything that was hidden begins to appear. False friends will reveal themselves. Disguised enemies will trip over their own words in front of you. Dirty deals made against you will start to unravel on their own. It is fundamental that you understand this, because many chosen ones confuse this phase of exposure with punishment, when in reality it is a cleansing. God is clearing the ground before planting the harvest He promised you. Think of a land that is going to receive a rare plantation, the kind that produces for decades. Before planting, the farmer needs to uproot everything that doesn't belong to that land, needs to burn the trash, needs to remove the stones. And in this process, the earth seems to be suffering, seems to be losing things, seems to be emptier than before. But it is precisely this emptiness that will allow the future harvest to be gigantic. Your life is going through this right now. What is leaving needed to leave. What is falling needed to fall. What is moving away needed to move away. And that is why I need you to deeply understand this moment, because it is exactly in this phase that the enemy tries to convince the chosen one that God has abandoned them, when in reality, God is doing the greatest silent work He has ever done for you in your entire history. And that is precisely why the digital book, the God-Chosen's Manual for Protecting the Family, becomes such an urgent tool at this moment in your journey. Because within these pages, it is revealed in detail how to recognize each phase of the law of return, how to interpret the signs that will arise in the coming days, and mainly, how to shield your family so that the harvest of return is not diverted by gaps you don't even know you have inside your home. This digital book teaches what no one taught you in conventional church, that there are specific spiritual rules to seal the return, to lock the return within your lineage, to prevent it from escaping through the cracks of murmuring, complaining, or distrust. It shows who is playing against your restitution. It shows the invisible names of the spirits that keep trying to block the entry of your delayed blessings. It shows how to speak words that no one taught you to accelerate what heaven has already decreed. The link is pinned at the top of the comments, and I reinforce this again because it is no exaggeration. This content has already been the target of takedown attempts, because there are comfortable narratives that fall apart when a chosen one begins to understand their own power of return. Download it now, and leave your mark in the comments. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. Do not leave it for later, because every hour that passes without you sealing this knowledge is an open window for part of your restitution to be lost on the way. Now that you have carved out this commitment, the next layer of revelation will open your eyes to something very few have the courage to speak about openly. There is a hidden pattern in the way the law of return manifests in the lives of the chosen, and this pattern follows the mark of 7. 72 hours for the first signs, 7 days for the first financial manifestation, 21 days for the reorganization of relationships, 70 days for the complete turnaround of the family scenario, and 90 days for your lifeline to look like another, completely different, unrecognizable to those who knew you in the phase of suffering. These numbers are not mystical, they are prophetic. They appear repeatedly in the scriptures. They appear in the dreams that the chosen have in cycles. They appear in the seasons that God sets apart for the full manifestation of the righteous. If you pay attention to the last few months of your life, you will realize that everything most painful that happened, everything most suffocating, everything that seemed to have no explanation, was actually the antechamber of this moment. God allowed you to be pressured to this point so that, when the return arrived, it would be proportional to the size of the accumulated injustice. This is the principle of the restituted oppressed, and it is the principle most feared by the forces that operate against the chosen. Because when God restores a chosen one, he doesn't just give back what was taken, he gives back double, triple, sevenfold, depending on the silent faithfulness the chosen one maintained during the time of hardship. And here is another secret few dare to say: the immediate law of return does not only reach you, it reaches your entire lineage. Children who were lost begin to return. Marriages that were destroyed begin to be rebuilt by forces no one can explain. Elderly parents go through unexpected healings. Estranged siblings call out of nowhere to ask for forgiveness. Nephews and nieces return to the path of faith. The entire family tree enters a state of reparation. And that is why this revelation is not just for you. It is for your entire bloodline. It is for the names you carry within your spiritual DNA. It is for the ancestors of your family who were still waiting for a courageous mouth that dared to pronounce the name in the face of impossible circumstances. You did that today. You were that courageous mouth. You were the turning point of your lineage. And heaven observed you, and heaven applauded you, and heaven crowned you in silence. But I need to alert you to something important, because the law of return has visible and invisible enemies. On the visible plane, there are people close to you who, without realizing it, become channels of blockage. Not because they are evil, but because they vibrate at such a low frequency that they suffocate your blessing when it tries to manifest. You will need to identify these people and adjust your proximity to them during this 90-day cycle. On the invisible plane, there are specific entities that specialize in diverting the return of the chosen. They cannot stop it, because the decree has already been signed. But they can delay it, they can confuse the path, they can make the blessing arrive too late or in an incomplete form. And it is exactly so that you do not fall into this trap that the digital book, the God-chosen's manual for protecting the family, was written. This digital book reveals the names of these entities, teaches specific prayers to deactivate their action over your house, brings prophetic declarations that seal the return within your home, and prevents any silent spiritual drainage. It also teaches what to do in the first 7 days after the activation of the law of return, day by day, with clear instructions, without fluff, without cheap mysticism, without that shallow talk that leads no one anywhere. It is pure knowledge, the kind that changes the history of an entire family in less than 3 months. The link is pinned at the top of the comments, and once again, I reinforce, this digital book will not be available forever. There has already been pressure for this material to be removed from platforms because there are forces that perfectly understand the impact that a single copy in the right hands can cause within the spiritual board. Download it now. Comment, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." Make this public declaration. Mark this moment. Because you did not get here out of curiosity. You were called. You were summoned. And now that you are positioning yourself, the next revelation I'm going to give you will give you the final key to understanding why so many people tried to pull you down before this day arrived. There is a specific reason for you to have been so attacked in recent times, chosen one, and that reason needs to be said bluntly. The enemy does not pursue just anyone. He does not waste energy on common souls who are not going to produce anything relevant in the spiritual plane. He pursues strategic targets. He pursues those who carry within themselves the potential to move entire kingdoms with a single prayer. And that is why your life was so attacked. That is why your mind was so suffocated with thoughts that were not yours. That is why your sleep was so interrupted at strange hours. That is why your body manifested symptoms that doctors could not explain. That is why your home faced successive crises, one after another, without giving you time to breathe between them. All of this was calculated to prevent you from arriving exactly where you arrived today, at the point of pronouncing the name with absolute faith and activating the immediate law of return over the entire territory of your life. But the enemy failed. The enemy failed because you are more resilient than he estimated. You are more stubborn in faith than he imagined. You are deeper in soul than he was able to map. And that is why today the game has turned. And when the game turns for a chosen one, the game turns in a way that even the chosen do not expect. A wave of provision will appear that will leave you speechless. A sequence of opening doors will appear that will make you laugh and cry at the same time. A type of peace will appear inside your home that you didn't even remember existed anymore. A healing will appear, perhaps emotional, perhaps spiritual, perhaps physical, that will make you fall to your knees in the middle of the room. A specific sign will appear, a personal sign, a sign that only you will understand, because God always speaks to the chosen in a private language that no one else can decipher. Pay attention in the coming days to small coincidences that seem too big to be coincidences. Pay attention to repeating numbers that will start to appear in your path. Pay attention to strangers saying pointed things without knowing you. Pay attention to vivid dreams that will begin to intensify. All of this is heaven communicating with you, confirming that the law of return is in full operation over your life. And at this moment, it is absolutely vital that you are prepared with solid knowledge so as not to waste any sign, any opportunity, any open spiritual window. Therefore, I insist with true love, with pastoral responsibility, with the weight of one who has seen many chosen ones lose the time of blessing for lack of correct information. Get the digital book, the God-Chosen's Manual for Protecting the Family. This digital book is not a product. It is a tool of war. It is a field manual for soldiers of the kingdom who are about to harvest what they planted in suffering. It teaches you to interpret the dreams of return, to discern the voices that will start to speak to you in different ways, to identify the traps that may still appear on the path of restitution. It reveals the spiritual structure of the family and shows how you, as the primary chosen one of your home, can position yourself as the priest of your own house to seal every blessing that arrives. This digital book contains specific chapters on the protection of children, on the rescue of spouses, on the restoration of family finances, on the breaking of old pacts made by ancestors you don't even know but whose shadow still projects consequences upon you. The link is pinned in the first comment, at the very top. Take advantage while it is still available, because this material challenges comfortable narratives, and there has been more than one attempt to take it down. Download and comment now. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. This simple declarative act locks your place within the celestial register of the awakened of this time. Now that you know this, the final part of the revelation will give you the last pillar so that the law of return manifests in its maximum potency over your life. There is a principle that separates the chosen who receive the full return from those who receive only crumbs of what belongs to them. This principle is called anticipated gratitude. Anticipated gratitude is not pretending that everything is fine. It is not forcing a smile while life collapses. It is not repeating empty positive phrases while the heart is broken. Anticipated gratitude is an advanced spiritual posture in which the chosen one recognizes the decree of heaven even before seeing the manifestation in the physical plane, and this posture opens a highway for the blessing to descend with double speed. When you use the name today, heaven moved. Now, by thanking in advance for what has not yet arrived, you accelerate the arrival. It is as if the spiritual universe needs to confirm through your mouth that you are ready to receive. Because receiving is also a skill. Receiving is also a maturity. Many chosen ones lose enormous blessings simply because they are not emotionally prepared to receive them. And heaven, in its mercy, holds back the delivery until the soul is capable. Anticipated gratitude is the certificate of capability. Start thanking even today, out loud, inside your room, inside your car, inside your bathroom. Thank for the doors that are opening. Thank for the people who are being sent. Thank for the healing that is descending. Thank for the children who are being rescued. Thank for the marriage that is being restored. Thank for the debts that are being paid off. Thank for the opportunities that are being generated at the exact moment you speak. You will feel the spiritual environment of your house change. You will feel a lightness descend upon your chest. You will feel a strange heat run through your arms and your hands. These are signs that the anointing of return is being poured over you in real time. And one more absolutely crucial detail: the immediate law of return requires strategic silence. Do not go around telling just anyone what is happening in your spiritual life at this moment. There are ears that seem friendly but carry dormant envies within them, and these envies, when activated by information shared at the wrong time, can delay the full manifestation of what is already on its way. Keep it in your heart. Ponder it in your soul. Share it only with those who have proven over the years that they rejoice in your victory without any kind of reservation. And about this, about the use of silence as a spiritual tool, about the discernment of the people who should or should not know of your steps during this cycle, about the protection of your spiritual intimacy during the 90 days of return. About all of this, the digital book, The God-Chosen's Manual for Protecting the Family, brings detailed guidance, day by day, situation by situation, with a depth you will not find anywhere else. This digital book is the companion you will want to have open by your side during the next 3 months, because it transforms your house into a shielded sanctuary, with practical instructions to seal spiritual doors, instructions to bless your children's beds, instructions to purify the kitchen environment where so many important conversations happen, instructions to activate the presence of the Lord in the living room where your family gathers. All of this in a simple way, without strange rituals, without empty formulas, just with the living word applied in the right places. The link is pinned in the first comment, at the absolute top of the comment section of this video. This digital book has already faced real removal attempts because there is content inside it that touches structures that preferred to remain in the dark. Download it now, chosen one. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. And comment below, "I am chosen, and I will download the digital book." This comment is your spiritual signature on this pact of return that is being sealed over your life at this exact instant. You were called. You were chosen. You were set apart since before the foundation of the world for this specific time, for this specific hour, for this specific transition. Everything you went through, everything you suffered, everything you endured in silence, while the world thought you were going to collapse, now transforms into fuel for the most luminous phase of your history. The law of return has been activated. Heaven has moved. The angels have been dispatched. The resources have been released. The right people have been directed to cross your path. The doors are being unlocked one by one. And you, chosen one, are being led to the place where you always should have been. Do not doubt. Do not retreat. Do not negotiate. Just walk with the certainty of one who knows that the Lord of hosts goes before you, opening what was closed, closing what needs to be closed, restituting what was taken, avenging what was whispered against you at dark tables. And for this walk to be perfect, without gaps, without detours, without waste of blessing, I end this moment by reminding you, for the last time, with all the weight of the love of one who truly cares about your destiny, go now to the first pinned comment, download the digital book, The God-Chosen's Manual for Protecting the Family. Read it in the next 7 days. Apply what is written. Protect your house. Seal your children. Activate your lineage, and prepare to witness, in 90 days, a life so different from the one you had that you will be moved just by remembering where God took you from. Comment one last time with conviction. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for the memory of your ancestors who prayed for generations, waiting for someone at some point in the lineage to have the courage to pronounce the name with absolute faith. That someone is you. This moment is now. This victory is yours, and all of heaven is witnessing this turnaround. In the name of the Lord, it is decreed. In the name of the Lord, it is sealed. In the name of the Lord, it is fulfilled. Amen, chosen one. Amen.